Okay, I'm gonna be the observer for this interview.
Yeah, so I'll be the interviewer for this interview and I'll be playing an upper level English teacher.
And I'll be the interviewee playing a student in this class.
Okay, perfect. I'm gonna start the timer and stop my video.
Hi, Claire. Thank you so much for coming to office hours today. I really love getting a chance to know my students, especially out of class. Why are you here today?
Well, thank you for having me. I'm just so nervous about this class, honestly. Like, I feel like I'm not doing well on your assignments, and I feel like no matter how hard I try, I just can't seem to get a hold of the concepts and what you kind of want me to do. And I it's I don't I want to do really well, and I just don't know how to do really well, and I just didn't know what else to do except come talk to you.
No, absolutely, Claire. I wish, obviously, you had come and talked to me before the withdrawal deadline, just so we could have talked a little bit more. But I understand that this is your first semester here, and I just want to say you are incredibly gifted in English. I don't want you to worry about your grades necessarily, but just the fact that you keep showing up every single day. I will say, were you one of those students in high school who was top of her class, perfect GPA, that sort of thing?
Yes, and I'm having a hard time with that because how do I come to class without worrying about the number, and like I need to do well while I'm here.
No, absolutely. I completely agree. Um, I personally, I was a lot like you when I was an undergrad. I very much stressed about my grades and was horrified of the idea of failure. Can you relate?
Yes, for
So, I just kind of want to know, have you ever had an experience with failure previous to this class?
um I I my classes have always really come easy, including my English classes, and honestly, I was really those like have been some of my favorites, and I was looking forward to coming here and really studying English and diving deeper into that. And no, I've never really had a hard time in my English classes before, and that's kind of why I was looking forward to doing this and all of that.
Absolutely. That doesn't surprise me in the slightest, to be quite honest. I have definitely dealt with this scenario before where I've had an incredibly gifted student. And I will be frank with you, I am definitely harder on you because I know that um, you can go farther if I do push you. But I don't want you to think that you didn't do well in this class because your GPA doesn't reflect that, if that makes sense. Um, but I do think it would be helpful, since this is your first time coming to office hours. Um, since it is an upper level class and it's obviously a smaller size, I would really like to get to know you. So just tell me a little bit about yourself, like your family life and that sort of thing. I'm really interested in that sort of stuff.
Okay, well, as you already know, this is my first semester here. I'm the oldest of my siblings, so I have two little sisters, and so I'm the first one to go off to college, and so that's been kind of a little bit of an adventure, but I'm so close to my family, and my sisters and I have always been close, and especially over the quarantine, like we were home together all the time, and we got really close in that time. And I'm close with my parents. I always have been, always shared things with them, and always had them there to help me through things. And so moving away has been hard too, to be away from that. Yeah.
I can relate so much. My family is seriously one of the most important things in the world to me, and I'm really glad you have those bonds. I'm curious too, I know you're just a freshman, but what would you say that your plans after graduation are? Are you considering grad school?
I don't know for sure yet. I have considered grad school. I have considered a gap year. I have considered just going on to work, but I don't even know what I'm going to do with my major now. Like, I thought I was so sure, and I really don't know anymore, any of it.
Well, so what were your plans with your major before you came into my class? What were you planning to do with it after graduation?
I was I was thinking about either majoring or minoring in English and maybe going into teaching with that. I've always loved working with kids, and so um, I would love to maybe do that in teaching. But I also combine my passion for working with kids with my passion for English. Um,
I love
so,
that. I
thank
love
you.
Absolutely. Um, I can tell you for sure when I'll just give you a little bit of backstory about me. I came into college as a bio major. I thought I was going to go pre-med, do the whole thing. I have a very long line of doctors in my family, and I had to take my mandatory freshman English class, and I absolutely fell in love. It came so naturally to me, and I do know that English comes naturally to you. It's an upper level class for a reason. It's designed to challenge students. And I want you to know you're not failing by any means. A couple B's and a C is not failing, all right? So just bear with me on that. I can almost guarantee you if you do end up wanting to go into any sort of graduate program that it is not going to be totally dependent on your GPA. It's going to be dependent on how well you can write. And I'm basically breaking down all of your bad writing habits right now. And unfortunately, it's just coming through in the ultimate grade that you get. But I just want you to rest easy in that. Um, so yeah, but how are your other classes going? What's going on with those?
Um, they're going pretty well. I would say this is the one I'm having the hardest time with, but this is also my hardest one. Um, I'm taking some obviously like basic, math and a foreign language and all of that, and those are drawing on a lot of what I did in high school and haven't been too much of a challenge. But this one is definitely pushing me way beyond anything that I've ever had to do before, and so I do appreciate you sharing your story though, because it kind of reassures me that like it's okay, but it still doesn't necessarily feel okay, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Well, that's the freedom about college is that you can change your major about an infinite number of times and within reason. But yeah, I appreciate that you came to talk to me today. And also, I just wanted to know what other sorts of things you're involved in on campus because I think that's something that's very important to your student experience here at UGA.
Yeah, I am trying to balance getting involved right now, but I'm trying to get involved at at my church. I just started playing the piano there, which is a pretty big step for me, so I'm excited about that. But I'm also trying to get involved in some service stuff because that was always really important to me in high school. And like I said, I love working with kids, so I'd love to continue to get some experience in that way. Um, but I'm trying to get a handle on my classes first, um, and, re-find a balance.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think something I just thought of while I was talking to you, if you would be interested in coming to office hours weekly and I could give you small assignments, not put a grade on them, but just go over the feedback with you. Do you think that would help your writing skills?
Yeah, I definitely think that would be really good. Thank you. And I guess I just too like I know you're such a good like professor and writer, and so like I want to learn from that, but it's just been hard to, you know, see what I see as failure in my grades while I'm trying to learn. So yeah, that would be so helpful.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you too, there's not a single faculty member in the English department here that has not failed at one point or another and is still failing today. I mean, hey, I have about a dozen failure experiences that I could rattle off to you right now. I'll tell you that any great professor or just author is not going to come without a failure story. And not to be cliche or anything, but there are a lot of, I'm sure you've heard of very famous stories from very famous people. What comes to mind for me is Abraham Lincoln, and how he failed. He lost 2 elections before he became president. Not trying to equate that experience with yours, but that's something I always like to keep in mind. But so is church something that's important to you, would you say?
Yeah, it's very important. It always has been, and I don't want to lose that while I'm in college because I know it can be easy to, wander away, but that is hugely important to me.
Absolutely. And I would never want to press you to talk about that. And I apologize for bringing that up because that's something in your personal life. But I personally go to a church called Calvary Bible here. And I think especially having a spiritual component to your college experience is something that is really going to stick through the whole time with you.
Yeah, please don't feel bad about asking about that. It's not something that I'm, trying to hide or anything, but thank you for sharing too. Like, it's nice to know there are, older mentor people on campus too that's important too also.
Oh, absolutely. There's a whole slew of us. But how has your overall freshman year been, minus the schooling stress?
It's been overall, I would say good, but definitely a much, much harder transition than I imagined it would be. And just kind of going from feeling like I had it kind of all figured out to feeling like I don't really have much of anything figured out has been kind of hard, but I still have had a lot of really cool experiences. And so, and kind of know even just a little bit more what I want to like pursue going forward. So I guess that kind of shows me, you don't have to have it all figured out, and you can try something and not like it, or you can try something and not do well at it, and just make plans going forward.
Well, the important part is if you know you love something and you try it and it doesn't work out, it's not the end of the world. You can still keep pining for it. But I know that there are definitely more people than not that come to college thinking they know exactly what is going to happen, and that's just unfortunately not what turns out in reality. Um, yeah, but I'm just so grateful that you came in today. I know I keep saying that, but it's been hard, especially in this pandemic. Not seeing my students in the way that I want to. But I hope that you have such an excellent time here. And do you think you'll consider taking any of my other classes, or how are you feeling?
Yes, I would like to, but I will definitely, it'll be a little hard to push past that. Oh my gosh, am I going to get a bad grade in this one again? But now that I know how willing to work with me you are, then like you don't always find that in professors, and so I'm really grateful for that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And especially at a big university like this, you can definitely tell the empathetic ones from the apathetic ones, for sure. But I'm so grateful for our talk here today, Claire. I just please reach out to me in emails if you want to come in tomorrow and hash this out more. I'd love to do that, but unfortunately, I have a class to teach in about 5 minutes, so I'll get going.
Yeah, thank you so much for meeting with me and talking with me, and I'll definitely be back soon.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much, Claire. I enjoyed our conversation.
Me too. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay, that was perfect 15 minutes.
How's it still recording?
Yeah, I'm going to stop recording it and